When the man covered his eyes, he suddenly noticed something strange. The woman standing in front of him looked as if her body had split into 3 parts, and her skirt was spinning non-stop. At first, he thought he was just hallucinating, but the next second, a man walking by suddenly turned into a paper-thin figure. Before Nick could even process what was happening, he realized that everyone on the street was mutating. Some people had turned into giant trees. Others looked like bizarrely shaped power banks. Even more terrifying, someone had been sliced clean in half, left hand still holding the right. Just as Nick's legs were going weak from fear, he bumped into a local crime boss behind him. When he looked up, the mob boss had turned into a robot. Nick slapped him on instinct, which immediately pushed the boss over the edge. He ordered his men to pin Nick against the wall, planning to chop off one of his fingers as a warning. But the moment he raised his hand to strike, Nick said something that made cold sweat run down the boss's back. Hearing those words, the hardened man suddenly burst into tears. Nick had spoken the secret he'd buried deep since childhood, trying to figure out what was really going on. The mob boss dragged Nick back to his home, demanding to know how he learned about that childhood incident. Instead of answering, Nick covered his left eye with his right hand. The next second, the boss turned into a robot again, but inside the metal shell was a young boy. Nick was pulled straight into the boy's memories. Years ago, when the boss was still a child, he accidentally cut off a friend's finger while they were playing with a sickle. The guilt and fear from that day had haunted him ever since. Realizing Nick had helped him confront the trauma, the heavy robotic shell around him began to fade away. From that moment on, the mob boss vowed to become a better person.